You've probably seen this everywhere. OSFI, who is a real estate regulator in Canada, has killed the investment properties. You must have heard things like you can't use rental income to qualify for that home anymore. Or things like you cannot use the income that you used for one house to buy another investment property. And some are even saying that it's over for landlords in Canada. Let's get one thing straight. That's all wrong. This rule doesn't really change anything for you and me, because the truth is, investing in Canada became a losing game long before this rule came into play. And this new rule is just another distraction driving us away from the real problems. We'll talk about that and more in today's video, so let's get started. Now here's what's happening. Social media took an OSFI update, and OSFI, like I said, is a real estate regulator in Canada. It took an update. There was some conference where there were a lot of people and they said something and it came up as an update, and it's just turned into pure clickbait. People have been saying all over on social media, YouTube, Instagram, that investors cannot use their income to qualify for rental properties. They can't use their income from the house that they are buying to qualify for that investment property. All this is wrong because it's not a borrower rule. This rule is a bank capital rule. It doesn't change how you qualify. It changes how the banks look at your mortgage behind the scenes. Here's what the rule actually means, and I'll read it through the official link. If more than 50% of your income used to qualify comes from the rent of that same property, the bank has to classify that mortgage as income producing, which is also called high risk, and hold more capital on it. It's a bank rule. Doesn't change anything for you. That's it. There's no ban. There is no new stress test, which a lot of people are saying. And yes, you can still use your salary income to qualify for the investment property. All OSFI is saying is that if more than 50% of the income used for this investment property comes from the rent of that same property, because there could be more vacancy and there's risk of tenants and the landlord-tenant board sucks in Ontario and some of the bigger provinces, they will treat it as high risk. And all that would mean for investors is they'll need a bigger down payment, which is already 20%. There could be some tightening on the paperwork, or they'll charge a premium on the interest rate of the rental properties, which will be 0.2 to 0.4% higher. And honestly, being a mortgage agent, I already know these rules are in place. It's just not, it's not common knowledge. For instance, all know that they require 20% down payment to do an investment property. But a lot of people don't know that banks actually changed their regulation. Like, I think it was 2 years, 3 years ago, when they became very strict on using the gifted funds for investment properties. Banks already charge a premium of 0.2 to sometimes 0.5% on top of the interest rate that you would actually pay on your primary home if you're buying an investment property. And in some of the provinces, banks are even looking at the actual permits of the basements, like a legal permit from a basement, to count that income. All this was not that strict a few years ago. And here's the hilarious part. OSFI is thinking that too much of our income is coming from the rent from the property. But in Canada, rents don't even cover for expenses unless you're buying a multifamily home or a commercial unit. And that's not done by you and me. That's done by more seasoned investors, people who have been here for a long time. They make a shitload of money, or they are institutional investors like BlackRock. The average investor today is cash negative. So let's be real. OSFI did not kill the investment properties in Canada. The model was already broken, and the math on that proves it. Which is exactly why I operate in Ontario. I have my primary home in Ontario, but my investment properties are in Calgary, and then I moved to US. Because investment properties in Ontario and BC are just not making sense. It never did. And while everyone is panicking about this rule, here's the part that no one is talking about. These rules don't crush big players. They only crush small investors. Because the big investors and REITs will just buy these homes on a discount in cash. And you don't have to take my word for it. Just Google BlackRock in Sydney or BlackRock in US. Or just look at the kind of houses that are being built and Carney's plan of building more houses that involves prefabricated homes. All that is purpose-built for rentals. And I, for one, being in the industry, cannot be in denial that Canada will be a nation of renters. My son Aryan, who is 10 months old right now, will never be able to own his primary home. I have learned this the hard way. We have complicated wealth. Every time a regulator sneezes, everyone panics. Here's how I have simplified my life. I buy my primary home and slowly upgrade once or maximum twice to move into my forever home. I invest 20% of my net household income into the stock market. And if I can't do these two things, I know that I have to make more money, invest in my skills, and instead of buying the next investment property or trying to scramble money or lie on the application for it, I need to make sure that I'm making more money. And only if I'm comfortably able to pay my bills, do the 20% in the stock market, and have some fun, only then, if I have more money left, goes into the investment property. And if it doesn't cash flow, I don't buy, because the goal isn't to own more homes, it's to have financial freedom. And that can be done by just doing two simple things in the next 2 decades. The first one is to buy your primary home and pay it down as soon as possible so that you can retire, rent, and mortgage free. Now that's not mandatory, but it would help if you do not have a lot of expenses as you retire. And the second one, invest at least 20% of your net household income into the stock market. And I promise you this, if you do this repeatedly, you will have a really nice retirement. And the best part is that government nor the OSFI can change the actions that will make this happen. Only we can. That's all I have for today. मिलते हैं अगली वीडियो में, तब तक के लिए बाय बाय.